Sorry, one sec. I'm very tired. Oh, it's Tuesday. And the weekend has been fun, but it has been long. On Saturday, as you know, I went to a new park run with my friend Vicky, and that nearly killed us. Like, literally, that was so hard and so tiring and so exhausting. In good ways, in very good ways, but it was exhausting. It was so tiring. Oh, I'm really tired. So my intention was to do that park run and then do my training plan after the park run. My legs were jelly. My legs were jelly after those hills. I physically was struggling to walk. And yet I still had a lot of walking to do, because after we finished with park run, I then met up with my friends who have just recently had a baby because they wanted to check out some local forest locations to fly their birds in. We ended up going down to see them, which is a good hour's drive, or just short of an hour's drive from our house, so it's quite a way. But went down to see them and spent the day walking around forests and parks with them, which was really nice. And it was a lovely little catch-up time. We really had a really, really lovely time. But we didn't end up getting home till about 5-6 o'clock at night, by which point my legs were dead. My legs were gone to the world. They were like, no more. I've done like 20,000 steps today, if not more. You've had me up and down the steepest of hills. Like, I can't do any more. It's like, okay, legs will have a rest. So I took the rest of Saturday evening as a rest day. Then on Sunday, I woke up with really bad hay fever, and it's not much better today. It's not gone away, unfortunately. God, it's really bad today. And then I actually had a falconry experience booked with one of my friends. So I ended up driving in the opposite direction. I drove up north for an hour just on Sunday to go do this falconry experience, which ended up being a lot of fun. It was really nice, it was really chill, and I learned a lot in that short little space of time, which some of the things I can actually apply to my own parrots as part of their training, which I was really looking forward to. Then on Sunday night, I had the worst insomnia. I was awake almost all night, and I was essentially watching the time go by. It was so bad. I was still wide awake at like 3:30 in the morning. At some point I managed to drift off, and then I woke up again at 6 o'clock in the morning. So I've had very little sleep Sunday night. Very little sleep. I was exhausted Monday morning, and I trudged through Monday. I was so tired. Thankfully, I had some really easy dog walks on Monday morning, so I just focused on getting them done and then getting home. And bless him, Jason made tea. But unfortunately, on Sunday, Jason actually got sent home early from work because he's not been well. It looks like he may have an infection. But as of yet, Jason being Jason, he's refused to call the doctors until it's been like 2-3 days. But his symptoms are consistent with an infection. So he was sent home on Sunday with an infection, and he was still unwell on Monday. And bless him, even though he was ill, by the time I got home, he'd already made tea and was doing the dishes. I'm like, Jason, what are you doing? Why are you doing housework? Why are you doing all this for me when you're meant to be resting because you're ill? He's like, no, I can't sit down, I can't stay still, I'm bored of staying still. Oh, the man makes me laugh. On top of all this, I also had a flare-up that happened over the weekend. I'm not too sure what caused it, but it mainly kicked off Sunday evening, and it's continued through till today. I woke up this morning thinking I was okay, and unfortunately I do still have some aching in my joints where the inflammation has actually caught my inflammatory arthritis. So I've got a bit of pain in my wrists, my elbows, and also my knees at the moment. Yesterday was really bad. On top of the tiredness, and then also having the pain in my joints was just a nightmare. And then today I've woke up full of hay fever. Like, my hay fever's been bad the last couple of days anyway because it's that time of year, but this morning it's really bad. It's not bad enough for me to not go into work, thankfully, but my nose won't stop streaming. My eyes are puffy and itchy and irritated. My throat is itchy and irritated, and I'm just feels like there's been a lot in the last 4 days. On top of this, we're still having delays with the house that we're trying to buy. All the surveys have come back, but the seller is now trying to weigh up his options to decide what he wants to do, whether or not he's going to accept one of our offers or our reduced offers, because we've had to reduce it by quite a bit based on the repairs needed, or whether or not he's going to refuse the sale or refuse the offer completely and go put the house back on the market, in which case we're back at square one. So that's been causing me a lot of stress. And then on top of that, we've also been having some financial stress because these last 2 months, like these 2 months every year, are difficult months for me when it comes to income, because a lot of my clients go on holiday, There's a lot of bank holidays where I don't work or clients don't need me. And it's also a lot of traveling this time of year because there's a lot of pirate events on and things like that. So there's also been some financial stresses on me the last few days. It just feels like a lot. I feel like I'm emotionally burnt out or stressfully burnt out, which is not helping. There's also been some physical stresses that I'm not going to go into because as of yet, I can't be certain what those physical stresses are, but it could potentially impact my long distance runs. It could severely impact my long distance runs, aka the half marathon we've got coming up at the end of the year and the Manchester Marathon next year. So until I can get those looked into, or until I can get that physical stressor looked into and confirmed or negated or whatever, I don't want to go into too much detail right now. But if it is what I think it is, I may have to restrict myself to 5Ks only. 10Ks maximum because of things that will be out of my control. Anyway, I've mumbled on for too long already today. That's where I'm up to, or that's what I've been like for the last few weekends. I'm financially stressed, I'm emotionally stressed, I'm physically stressed, I'm full of hay fever, I've had an inflammation flare up, and just everything feels like it's getting thrown at me in one weekend. So I've not done any running since Saturday, or not done any training since Saturday. I wanted to get some done yesterday, but by the time I got home, I was still exhausted from the insomnia the night before, or that night of the insomnia from that day. I was too exhausted to actually get anything done. This morning, I'm still recovering from that insomnia, and I had a mini bout of it last night, but it wasn't as bad. And I wouldn't be surprised if it's because of the stresses that I'm going through at the moment, or the stresses that I feel like I'm under at the minute. Anyway, I've been thinking to myself, considering I've got all these stresses going on and everything, and I'm getting infuriated with myself for not doing my mobility and calisthenics training, but I'm also getting infuriated myself. I'm looking at my running training and getting very demotivated. I'm very fed up of following these programs. So I'm taking a break from the programs, or from the running programs at least. If I feel like going on a run, I'll go on a run. If it only ends up being a 1, 2, 3K, then it just ends up being a 1, 2, 3K. At least I've done something. And I want to refocus my attention on my mobility and calisthenics training, which I know I need to do my running training if I want to do the marathon next year, or the half marathon at the end of the year. But at the moment, with the way my flare-ups have been and with the way my inflammatory arthritis have been, I think I need to focus on strength and mobility over endurance and cardio. That, and with my hay fever playing up, I want to try and avoid the outdoors, which when I work outdoors is already hard enough. So I'm going to take a break from the running plans. I'm still going to run, like I said, but it's not going to be following a strict plan. It's just going to be a case of, if I feel like going on a run, I'll go on a run. If I don't feel like going on a run, I won't go on a run. And I want to try and refocus my efforts on my mobility and calisthenics and get back into the habit of doing them 2 to 3 times a week. Because I really feel like with the running training, getting ready for the marathon, and then having to restart my running program from couch to 5K, I really have been neglecting my mobility and strength training, and that is my strongest points. That is where I see the most progress. That's where I make the most progress. And I need something to take my mind off everything that's going on. Right, I'm going to stop rambling now. Hopefully I'll get some exercise or training done tonight. If not, maybe I'll do some tomorrow. I want to do some tomorrow. I want to do some today. I'm just not feeling well.